1855, under a pale African moon, a Zulu woman stood motionless at the edge of the hills of Natal. She did not cry. She did not run. She did not call his name. She only watched as the man she loved disappeared into the darkness. By sunrise, he would be gone forever. If anyone had discovered what they had shared, even a whisper of it, one of them would not have survived. And when her father finally learned the truth, he made a decision no one expected. This is not a story about rebellion. It is not a story about escape. It is a story about love that chose silence and survived because of it. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Natal, South Africa. Mid-19th century. A land of rolling green hills, sacred rivers, and ancestral memory. But beneath its beauty, tension was building. British, colonial influence was spreading. Borders were being redrawn. Cultures were being studied, documented, and quietly threatened. And in the middle of this collision stood two people from different worlds, bound by a connection that should never have existed. Who were they? Really? Why was their love considered so dangerous? And what choice forced them apart, yet bound them forever? To understand how this love survived, we have to return to the moment it almost never began. Nandi was born into responsibility. She was the daughter of Chief Khumalo, a respected leader, a protector of tradition, and a man who believed the survival of his people depended on discipline and restraint. From childhood, Nandi was taught to listen more than she spoke, to observe before she acted, to carry herself with quiet strength. Her future had already been chosen. Marriage, children, service to her people. Love was not meant to surprise her. Not far from her world, moving carefully, through unfamiliar land, was a man named Thabo, an explorer, a documentarian, an outsider. He carried journals instead of weapons, sketches instead of demands. He had come to Southern Africa not to conquer, but to record, to preserve cultures he feared the world was about to erase. But no matter how gently he walked, his presence alone marked him as danger. They were never meant to meet. Until one afternoon, they did. Nandi had gone to the ridges to gather wild herbs, a task she had done countless times before. The air was still, the land quiet. Then she saw him, a man seated on a rock, charcoal smudged on his fingers, sketching the landscape with intense focus. Her first instinct was fear, not of violence, but of consequence. He looked up. Their eyes met. Time seemed to hesitate. Neither moved, neither spoke. Both understood the danger immediately. Thabo stood slowly, stepping back in respect. Nandi turned and left without a word. But something had already passed between them. Not language, but recognition. Days passed, then weeks, and though neither searched for the other, fate closed the distance again, this time by the river. The water masked their voices. The reeds hid their faces. They spoke carefully at first. Names, gestures, fragments of understanding. Thabo spoke of lands beyond the sea. Nandi spoke of ancestors whose names lived only in memory. He listened, truly listened, in a way few outsiders ever had. And Nandi noticed. Their meetings became deliberate, always brief, always hidden. Each one carried risk. Villagers began whispering. Hunters noticed unfamiliar tracks. And yet, the pull between them grew stronger. And that was when everything began to unravel. If this part of the story is making sense, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story has traveled. Rumors spread quietly at first. A stranger seen too often near the river, a young woman lingering longer than necessary. Eyes followed Nandi more closely. Conversation stopped when she entered rooms, and Chief Kumalo noticed. He said nothing, but he watched. Meanwhile, Thabo realized he was being followed. Hunters had seen him, not confronted him, yet. But they would. For Thabo, the danger was immediate. For Nandi, it was slower. Heavier. Thabo asked her to leave, not that night, not impulsively, but soon, to cross the water, to abandon the life that had shaped her. For him, leaving meant survival. For Nandi, leaving meant erasure. Her father, her people, her name. That night, beneath the same moon that would later witness their final goodbye, they made no decision. Only promises. They did not yet know they could not keep. The rumors intensified. The air grew heavy with expectation. And on the final night, the wind carried the smell of rain. They met once more, knowing it would be the last time. No arguments, no tears, only truth. Thabo would leave by morning. Nandi would stay. They shared one final kiss, not hurried, not desperate, but full of griefy and respect. Love without possession. When dawn came, Nandi did something no one expected. She went to her father. She told him everything, and prepared for punishment. Chief Kumalo listened in silence. Then, he spoke. He told her he already knew, and then revealed something he had never shared with anyone. Long before Nandi was born, he too had loved an outsider, and he had chosen duty. He did not curse her. He did not forbid her. He blessed her love. But he did not release her from her life, and in that moment, Nandi understood. Some loves are meant to be carried, not followed. Thabo left Natal at sunrise. He never returned, but he carried Nandi with him, not as a possession, but as a responsibility. His writings would later become some of the most respectful accounts of Zulu culture ever recorded. Nandi lived on. She married. She led. She taught. And in quiet moments, when the wind moved through the hills just right, she remembered. Their love did not end in tragedy. It transformed, and that transformation became its legacy. So we leave you with this question. Is love measured by how long it lasts, or by what it protects? Would you have left everything behind, or stayed and lived with the memory? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if this story moved you, hit the like button and share it with someone who appreciates stories with meaning. If you want more stories like this, check out the next video on your screen, and subscribe for more stories where love, history, and fate collide. Because the next one may change how you see everything.